location, where St. Mary met St. Elizabeth. The remains of the latter are interred here. On the very first day of my arrival at Jerusalem I had made some observations, during a visit to the church of St. Francis, which gave me anything but a high opinion of the behavior of the Catholics here. This unfavorable impression was confirmed by subsequent visits to this church, so that at length I felt obliged to tell Father Paul that I would rather pray at home than among people who seemed to attend to anything rather than their devotions. My Frankish costume seemed to be such a stumbling block in the eyes of these people that at length the priest came to me and requested that I would make an alteration in my dress, or at any rate exchange my straw hat for a veil in which I could muffle my head and face. I promised to discard the obnoxious hat and to wear a handkerchief round my head when I attended church, but refused to muffle my face, and begged the reverend gentleman to inform my fellow worshippers that this was the first time such a thing had been required of a Frankish woman, and that I thought they would be more profitably employed in looking at their prayer books than at me, for that he whom we go to church to adore is not a respecter of outward things. In spite of this remonstrance, their behavior remained the same, so that I was compelled almost to discontinue attending public worship. On great festival days the high altar of the church of St. Francis is very profusely decorated. It is, in fact, almost overloaded with ornament, and sparkles and glitters with the most dazzling brilliancy. Innumerable candles display the lustre of gold and precious stones. Foremost among the costly ornaments appear a huge gold monstrance presented by the King of Naples, and two splendid candelabra, a gift of the imperial house of Austria. I happened one day to pass a house, from within which a great screaming was to be heard. On inquiring of my companion what was the matter, I was informed that some person had died in that house the day before, and that the sound I heard was the wail of the mourning women. I requested admission to the room where the deceased lay. Had it not been for the circumstance that a few pictures of saints and a crucifix decorated the walls, I could never have imagined that the dead man was a Catholic. Several mourning women sat near the corpse, uttering every now and then such frantic yells that the neighborhood rang with their din. In the intervals between these demonstrations they sat comfortably regaling themselves with coffee. After a little time they would again raise their horrible cry. I had seen enough to feel excessively disgusted, and so went away. I was also fortunate enough to visit a newly married pair. The bride was gorgeously dressed in a silk undergarment, wide trousers of peach blossom satin, and a caftan of the same material. A rich shawl encircled her waist, and on her feet she wore boots of yellow morocco leather. The slippers had been left, according to the Turkish fashion, at the entrance of the chamber. An ornamental headdress of rich gold brocade and fresh flowers completed the bride's attire. Her hair, arranged in a number of thin plaits and decorated with coins, fell down upon her shoulders, and on her neck glittered several rows of ducats and larger gold pieces. Costumes of this kind are only seen in the family circle, and on the occasion of some great event. Seldom or never are strange men allowed to behold the ladies in their gorgeous apparel, so that it is fruitless to expect to see picturesque female costumes in the public places of the East. After the marriage ceremony, which is always performed during the forenoon, the young wife is compelled to sit for the remainder of the day in a corner of the room with her face turned towards the wall. She is not allowed to answer any question put by her husband, her parents, or by any one whatever, still less is she permitted to offer a remark herself. This silence is intended to typify the bride's sorrow at changing her condition. During my visit the bridegroom sat next to his bride, vainly endeavoring to lure a few words from her. On my rising to depart, the young wife inclined her head towards me, but without raising her eyes from the ground. End of section 15.